good advice when you provide a ticket or, you go through your workflow, try to have as much context and data for the remediation and for what it is you're fixing as possible.
Very, very good. All right, Joe, now do the opposite for me. Give me some bad advice on dealing with remediation.
Bad advice. Ask your engineering teams to fix all the alerts that your scanners are emitting.
Oh, that's pretty bad. Matt, can you do worse than that? What's worse advice?
Worse and similar. You kind of took mine, Joe, but as a CISO, have the mentality of I need to fix every single vulnerability, because if there's one thing that's certain in life, it's death, taxes, and vulnerabilities. You're always just going to have them.
That is true. Death, taxes, and vulnerabilities. I love it. Let's get this rolling.
Get ready. It's Super Cyber Friday.
Hello and welcome to Super Cyber Friday, everybody. Hey, please, would you mention in the chat room if you had difficulties coming here? We didn't see people online, and all of a sudden we saw people online, and I see people rolling in right now. So just tell me if you didn't get a link or anything like that. We just want to know if there was a technical problem for today's show. But welcome, everybody. We love to see you here for Super Cyber Friday. Today's topic is hacking remediation, an hour of critical thinking about how to take alerts from found to fixed. We have two fantastic guests for you here today, and that would be Joe Harrington, Senior Security Engineer of the Principal Financial Group, and Matt Brown, Solutions Architect for Endor Labs. By the way, huge thanks to our sponsor, and that would be Endor Labs. They are responsible for sponsoring today's event. All right, lots of different ways to participate. You know how they do it. We got the chat room, how to improve remediate. How to improve remediation. I'm going to get it out here. That's your 10% better tip. Please make a hashtag 10P so we can see your wonderful tips here. You can join us on video with Bring Me On or ask a question of our guests. There's like that little, the question bubbles right now underneath the chat bubbles on the little icons on the side. Click on that and ask a question or vote for your favorite question as well. All right, here's the format. Good advice, bad advice, worse advice. We want your improved remediation tips, 10P. We'll play the public interest. We'll play Slogans Run. There is going to be a prize for the winner of Slogans Run. We'll do it through the Kahoot platform. Last questions and answers. And then we will have our meetup. All right. Also, join us for our 11/14/25 show. That's in a week from now. And that will be hacking cybersecurity marketing. And here, let me just do that. I'm going to throw this on stage. You can go ahead and click and register for that at any time during the show. We also have it in the upper right-hand corner there. If you click the register, it will open up another window. You will not be kicked out of this. The other window will open, and you can join in the conversation there. It's an hour of critical thinking about how to better speak to the community, and we will have Gianna Whitfer, who is the one of the founders of the Cybersecurity Marketing Society and the Cyber Marketing Con. And we'll have our meetup, by the way, everyone, at the very end of the show. All right. For those of you who are on this all the time, this is a lot of old hat, and my apology for you hearing it again and again. But we're done. Josh, take that off. Thank you. Let's get rolling with our questions at hand now. So we were talking about remediation. Both of you kind of spoke to the just having to fix everything. And we have brought up this topic a lot of you don't need to remediate everything. Only a small percentage you have to. Don't just pay attention to CVSS alerts. I'm hitting all the top hits. These are things we don't need to repeat because our whole audience knows this. You don't need to just follow CVSS scores. You don't need to remediate everything. You have to provide context to those things. So these are all the things our audience kind of knows. Yet, even knowing all this stuff, it's really friggin' difficult. Joe, why?
It's difficult because we're competing for for attention, basically, with one of our key audiences, or a couple of our key audiences, developers and their leaders. They've got thousands of things coming at them each and every day, and it's hard to break through all that noise, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's just a lot of noise. Would you agree with that, Matt?
Yeah. I mean, think about an organization with like 10,000, 20,000 repos, that's hundreds of thousands, millions of alerts. And if you think, oh, well, we'll just fix anything that is a high or higher, software is complicated. It's really, really complicated. And you can't just go about trying to fix everything without also breaking everything, without slowing people down. So you have to be pretty meticulous in what you need to fix and what you should fix, rather than just the mentality of, well, let me just go ahead and fix everything. And let's be honest, there are hundreds of thousands of CVs. How many of them are like actually exploited daily, right? How many are like actually like make the news and things like that? You could probably count them on two hands, maybe 1 foot. That's about it. But there's just too much.
By the way, Scott McNeely's strategy, this is from Peter Gregory, was this: patch nothing except that which specifically represents risk in your organization. I would agree, but the answer to that question seems quite difficult to achieve. Would you agree with that, Joe?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would agree with that too. It's just finding that which poses a real risk to your organization is the difficult thing. And you can use a lot of different heuristics to do that. I mean, besides CVSS, which you mentioned, of course, people are probably aware of like EPSS scores, which further kind of narrow the scope of what you need to look at. And then it's also just critically important to be aware of the context in your own organization. What kinds of applications are you running? What kind of infrastructure are they running on? So at least you have the broad strokes of about which CVEs might be relevant to you and which aren't. I know that's been pretty successful for my team.
I'm going to put this question right here. Aman Sood asks, are we only talking about intellectual property vulnerabilities, or are commercial off the shelf also in scope? No, what do we mean commercial off the shelf also in scope? Do you know what he's referring to there?
Probably just like buying a piece of software, like, license for software. And,
Okay.
Office 365.
Right, that kind of thing.
Oh, let me go ahead and try to use it. Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, I would assume, everything. Yes, because actually that's where most of the CVSS scores come from, don't they? From existing, software that is being readily used and available. I mean, geez, Windows vulnerabilities, Patch Tuesday. That's we'll say is so. Let's go to what you kind of alluded to it, Joe, and I'd love it if we could get into a detailed conversation about this, of the comment that Peter Gregory said of Scott McNeely, like, how do we find those things that are relevant that we have to achieve? Like, what are the variables we look at? What are the sort of telltale signs? Like, how do you make these determinations?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of them. I mean, you have to look at, of course, like just what languages are you using in your environment, on frameworks, and then again, like what are you running them on? Like, are you running them on a Tomcat server or something like that? I mean, there's like CVEs that will point to this can only be exploited if it's running on Tomcat and it's Java version X and above or something like that. So I mean, it's important to know these things, and sometimes unfortunately, this is something that's not, in my experience at least, highly automatable all the time. Like it requires just some old-fashioned research and talking with different teams around your organization. Sometimes the infrastructure teams, sometimes a bunch of your different application teams, and just combing through code bases. So it can be difficult, it can be time consuming, but ultimately it can pay off if you're able to eliminate entire classes of vulnerabilities. And like Matt was saying, sometimes that's thousands or sometimes in the worst case, like millions of vulnerabilities. And if you can take those off your plate, and so people don't even have to like think about them again, it can be a big win.
I would love to know, everyone in the chat room, if you can speak up and say, this is what we've used to sort of highlight what is truly relevant to us. Matt, what's your take on this?
I mean, the way you can kind of think about it, like if you're thinking about, okay, vulnerability found, and then the whole process of like actually fixing something in the end, like okay, I now merged in code that fixes this vulnerability. It's really about like, does this affect me?
Mhm.
Does the criteria that which this vulnerability is exploitable and is actually dangerous, is that relevant to us, and does that actually affect us? And if my code calls an open source dependency, right? My code actually reaches a vulnerable method or function. My code is running on some internet facing application, not in like a backroom server. Do I have the proper firewall mitigation set up? Like all these different things you have to take into consideration to figure out, okay, does it actually affect me? And typically what you see is you could have a million vulnerabilities and like 10 of them actually affect you, kind of thing. And it's like, those are the ones that you should fix. If a vulnerability is like, well, this only affects Tomcat server that's using Java 17 and above, that uses only Java 17. Well, I'm on Java 21. It doesn't affect me. I can make an exception for that. So there's a lot that you can do there to mitigate.
Joe, what would you add to that?
I would say that, I saw a comment from Apurva in the chat also calling out, is the application internet facing, versus like an internal application. So I mean that's an important consideration too. I mean you can typically tolerate more risk if it's internal versus internet facing, or like he also pointed out, does this have it otherwise like a high blast rate? Is this a critical enterprise piece of software, or their regulatory implications? I think those are good call outs too. I mean, those kind of things you want to give more attention to, and be extra cautious.
And Renan Kasaka says, we use Dread. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Dread. Maybe one of you can explain. To determine the risk in our scenario, typically it translates risk better than just CVSS. My feeling, if you already have CVSS, like anything you put on top of it is going to translate better for your organization. Yes? I mean, like anything.
Yeah. You can never just rely on CVSS because, I mean, there's the whole issue with this database not being updated all the time and everything like that. And that's just one kind of, excuse my corniness here, a pillar of prioritization, piece of the prioritization puzzle, because CVSS is just one thing, right? EPSS, is it reachable? Can I even fix it? Is there a fixed version available? There's so many different things. Is it on a pull request or is it in production? Like all these different things factor into, okay, you can't just rely on CVSS. You'll just never stop trying to figure out what to fix. It's always going to happen.
Yeah, CVSS is a worst case scenario too. It's not explicitly, taking into account your own organization's context.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, CVS serves a purpose. Let's talk, we have slammed CVSS so much on this program. It serves a damn purpose. Yes. One thing can't be customized for everybody. In fact, I just had this, I'm going to throw this to you, Matt, and then we're going to play our first game. This was a really good question that came up in a live show. How do you build a product? CVS is a perfect example, but it's not a product. It's, it's a reporting mechanism. But how do you build a product when every company feels they're a special snowflake? Like, I'm sure you get this all the time. But we need it to do this and this. But we need it for this and this. And we need it for this and this. How do you deal with that? You
deal with it by realizing, like I've been doing software composition analysis, static analysis, SDLC for like 6-7 years now. I've never seen two customers have the same environment, tech stack.
Right.
Everybody is different. And I'm not just talking about programming languages, sure. Every tool, every methodology to fix things, every workflow, every ticketing, name it, everybody's different. So how do you build a product that makes it that it's like, okay, how do you kind of account for that is you make it as customizable and as, hey, let us work around your workflow rather than you working around our workflow as possible. You make super tweakable policies that you say only raise a finding or only send an alert or only break a build if it is critical, fixable, reachable. It's a direct dependency. It's this kind of CVSS or this kind of vulnerability. It's on a pull request. It has this. You make it super, super like nitty gritty and fine detailed. So that way you only surface the ones that you're looking for, the ones that you actually do need to fix rather than everything. But you got to make it so it's very customizable to the user rather than, well, this is how we do things and how we think it should be done, fit into our workflow. No. We got to fit into your workflow kind of thing.
All right.
I think that's how you do it.
All right, Josh, let's play our first game.
Do you know what others are thinking? On the public interest.
All right, everybody, what I want you to do, the icons, there's a Kahoot icon here. I haven't even seen this as well, so I'm going to play it myself. What I want you to do is there's an icon that looks like a little game controller, like an old Nintendo game controller. Click on that, and then the Kahoot thing will appear on the window. You're going to type the game pin number in, which I'm going to do right now, 1831. All you two too as well, Joe and Matt. And we're going to play this game, and I'm going to get in here. David. I am in as well. Everyone's getting in. Oh, good crowd's getting in. Come on, everybody in. I'm going to do a 10-second countdown, and then we're going to start the game, all right? So please get in. Are you ready for the 10-second countdown? That means you have to do this quickly. Remember, you click the little game controller icon, you type the game pin in, then your personal name. Here's your 10-second countdown. 10, 9. There's a lot more of you in here that isn't in the game. Get in the game. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is going to make perfect sense to you if you've never seen it before, Matt and Joe. All right, let's start the game. Let's go, Josh. All right. You will see clearly what it is. And I have not played this. I haven't seen this. One of our other producers created it. So we're all going to play. Remember, you're graded on speed and accuracy first, then speed. Which term has the most monthly search queries? So validation or verification. Just select in the Kahoot window, which is where your chat was. I got the first one right. How are you guys doing?
No,
I
got
got
on that one.
You got it wrong? Oh, there you go. Jonathan.
I was
all right.
fast though.
I wasn't fast enough. All right. Verification. Ooh, look at the almost triple there. All right. Then validation. All right. Next one. Let's see it. We have 4 questions here. Getting 4 for 4 is quite impressive. I think I went wrong. Whoops.
I think I
you have to
picked
hit submit too.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hit the submit. Well,
I knew I should have picked rollback. I knew it was going to be rollback.
Only 4 people got. Oh, so that's weird. This time it made us hit submit as well. I'm in 6th place, 12 points behind Anchor. Oh, I didn't really also give you that information of how you're doing. All right, rollback. Twice as much. I picked workaround.
Same.
Search queries.
All right. Okay, now this time I didn't have to click the other button.
Yeah.
I have no idea why that was the case. We were going to look into this. Ooh, I got it wrong.
I'm surprised at that. I thought it would be root cause for sure.
Yeah.
You know what happens is there's often some other usage for the term that has nothing to do with cyber or anything like, because these are just general questions. Sometimes it's a band name. It's a name of a restaurant. Who knows? And then that's what causes this to go out of whack.
All right.
So there could be the restaurant baseline or the nightclub baseline. Who knows?
Or the baseline.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Yeah.
There you go.
That's a different spelling of base, but people probably spell it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I always try to think of other terms outside of cyber because I'm sure most of the topics are not coming cyber. Oh God, I've only gotten 1 right. I think that was
I
our
tried to pick
last one.
filter because it was like the simplest one.
Yeah.
I did that too. I picked filter just for that, and that didn't work. Look how much more alignment is.
Wow.
Double of filter.
I got the second most common one on every answer. So
there's no winning for second best. All right. I only got 1 out of. Then look at that, 2 out of 4, and you can come in 3rd place. But GD 3 out of 4. Hold on, number 1 goes to who is it? Who wins? Jonathan. Kudos to Jonathan. Congrats, Jonathan. You only get bragging rights on this, but Doc Drew and Anka come in 4th and 5th. Good job. All right, let's get back to our show. We got lots more questions. Do we have? And also, by the way, get your questions in the question answer. Like you can go ahead and ask questions. And also, I never even heard of EPSS. What is EPSS? CVSS versus
exploitability predictability scoring system. So EPSS it's the same people that made CVSS. It's the first org. And what it does is it essentially says, hey, in the next 30 days, based on what we've seen out in the wild, here is the percentage likelihood that this vulnerability will be exploited out in the wild, just based off of like,
All right. Well, so so it would assume that EPSS is more value to it, yes, because it's.
Yeah, it could, but you could also have something that's 0 today, and then somebody finds an exploit for it, and then it's 100% tomorrow, and it's well. I think
So
there's
you don't
already
ignore
100%.
CVSS.
No, like CVSS is the starting point, and it's the one that everybody knows. Because I would rather have CVSS and it being accepted by everybody globally in every industry than having everybody have their own thing. And then it's like nobody can come to an agreement or alignment. So we have something. So for all the bad that CVS is or all the not
I'm
great,
telling you that
that
CVS
is
gets
good.
trashed on our show like you wouldn't believe.
Yes.
We did a segment on CISO Series podcast where I forced my guests, say something nice about CVSS. Nothing but trashing it.
It's much more useful like in a 0-day situation than EPSS, right? I mean, because when there hasn't been exploitation yet, but there's going to be. So it's like good to know, how bad could this be? What are the attack vectors? So CVSS is absolutely important. It's just you don't want to use it by itself.
All right, Matt, I want to get to specifically what's going on at Endor Labs with regards to remediation.
Sure.
This is your guys' bailiwick. We've had a bunch of vendors come on and talk about remediation because it is something quite difficult. What do you do? How are you guys tackling this differently?
The main thing that we do is what we call reachability. And reachability
Breachability.
Reachability.
Oh, reachability. I'm sorry, not
I guess
breachability, reachability.
You could also kind of say breachability too, but
All right,
reachability.
reachability. Okay.
And in the context of software composition analysis, which is, hey, I'm making a website, whatever have you. Now it's using open source code because I used to be a developer in a previous life. I'm lazy. I don't, need to write everything from scratch. I'm going to pull in as much open source components as I can to make my life easier and to actually build whatever I'm building, right? And what happens is my code that I write interacts with those open source components. Those open source components have CVs in them, have vulnerabilities. So software composition analysis has been around forever, since, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s. And everybody's been trying to figure out, okay, open source just has so many vulnerabilities in it. I'm getting a spreadsheet of 1 million different CVEs from these open source components. I can't possibly fix all these. Tell me which ones I'm using that are actually dangerous. So we'll tell you using what we have call graphs. Hey, does my code actually call that vulnerable method or function inside that open source component? From that, so it's like if you have 100 CVEs, now you're down to 10 because it's like these 10 your code actually uses and it's actually reached. The next problem is when you're thinking about fixing something that developers will tell you is, okay, tell me to upgrade this component so it fixes the vulnerabilities. How do you know that's not going to break my code? And that's really where a lot of friction happens when you're trying to fix these, because it's true for a long time the answer was, well, upgrade to the minimal viable component, and hopefully it's not vulnerable. We don't see that there are vulnerabilities in here, but
so you guys are offering a safer way to remediate because it answers that second question, which is what often holds up the remediation.
Exactly. And we use the call graphs to tell you, oh, hey, if you upgraded this component, you're not calling anything that's been changed or added or removed. So this is a very safe upgrade for you to do because number one, it'll fix all these vulnerabilities. But number two, it's not going to break your code. And then that way, it's like, boom, you can just open the pull request and merge it in.
All right. I'm going to use that as a means to make this call out to our audience here. I'm going to publish this right now. So, whoops. All right. Do you want the CISO series to introduce you to the fine people Endor Labs? This is a great little combination they have. Not only will they give you the clear no universe where I'm saying no. There you go. That's, you can say yes or no here. We're making the introduction, whether you like it or not. Look at the 5 votes coming in. Keep them coming. Keep it going. We'll make the introduction. We'll do this for you next Monday. Go ahead and do that. I'll remind you that poll all throughout today. I think this is really interesting because it essentially, what I find very interesting, what you're offering here that we hear a lot is they they'll tell you the context. Most of the vendors we've talked to, he says, we'll tell you the context of why this is important to you because it's exploiting this. And then from that point, it goes, oh yeah, and then we'll hook into your Jira system, we'll hook into that. And then it's like, you deal with your internal process, but you deal with what you know is to be one of the number one hangups as to why this doesn't get done. It's just like, sounds great, but what if?
Right.
And you're answering that first big what if.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like we provide all the work that you would do anyway to figure out, is this going to break my code? What if this happens? If I upgrade to this version, what ends up happening? You're gonna do all that work. That takes time, and that's why people don't fix things, because developers are like, no, I gotta go build things and push the prod, and I can't work on this stuff. We do that for you. Like, that's done, and the evidence is right there for you to actually take a look at.
So no universe where I'm saying no or yes. Both options work for us. All right, let's get back into our conversation. Please get your questions in, and lots of good advice are coming in as well. Hey, this is a good question from Marina Siegel. How do you estimate the time to remediate? Right there. That's a good question, because not only these are prioritized, but I'm assuming you have a high, low, medium, and do you also say like, oh my God, stop everything, do this now? Are there any ways you can do that?
I mean,
Sorry.
yes. Oh, is that for Joe or me?
Either one of you jump in.
Go for it.
You go
Matt.
first. No, you go first, Joe.
Okay.
More industry
Joe.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So we typically don't want to ask people to drop everything and fix something unless it's
no, but you want to, like, if the alarms have to start going off.
Yeah, if the alarms have to start going off, then yeah. And estimating time to remediate is actually kind of hard sometimes for a security engineer. I mean, the people who know the code base best and understand the work best are the software engineers. So I think it's, I guess my advice would be just work very closely with those software engineering teams, to try to come up with, some of your trusted contacts, be like, okay, hey, we've got this needs to be fixed now. What do you guys think this is going to take? And then you communicate that more broadly to the organization to estimate kind of impact. But yeah, I think a little bit of humility in that kind of case goes a long way too.
Yes. We don't want to be one of these security people that's acting like Chicken Little, the sky is falling, do we, Matt? No. What would be your answer to that in terms of time to remediate?
It's very hard. I've met countless folks who, they all have SLAs on like, hey, criticals is 7 days, meet highs are 30, whatever. I don't think I've ever met anybody who says, oh yeah, it takes us 3 days to fix critical severity vulnerabilities across the board. It so just depends on everything. Now, if it's a log4j, you can estimate the time that it takes to fix that stuff, because that is everybody drop everything and oh my God kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But like the typical critical, 9.8 EPSS of, maybe if it's 0, that takes you 3 days more to fix, because, well, nobody's exploited it yet, so we can kind of put that on the back burner, versus something that's 90%, that may take you a day. Highs may take you 6 weeks. Like, it so depends on so much, but SLAs are a good way to kind of at least measure that stuff and start measuring it, to say like, hey, our policy is 10 days, criticals need to be fixed. Some take 1 day, some take 9 days, some take 10 days, some take 20 days, but that's rare. And we look at those kind of things. So just starting with that measurement is a good way to at least start.
All right. Excellent. Awesome. We have some questions that have come in. Let me see what our questions are. Here we go, from Jonathan Waldrop. All right, let's hear it. When might you recommend a full upgrade / permanent fix versus virtual patching from using a web app firewall rules / IPS or other compensating controls? That is a good question of When do you need to overhaul? When does a patch work? As someone who has dealt with this themselves, I will say that I've patched. I finally, bite the bullet and I, overhaul or upgrade or switch systems or whatever the heck it is. And we've brought this up before, and you come out on the other side and you say to yourself, why didn't I do that sooner? Joe, your thoughts, and where did you go, Matt? Come back, please join us. Joe, what's your advice there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the short answer is, of course, like it depends, but
Yes.
but probably the more durable solution is, in general, the permanent fix. I mean, sometimes the firewall rules have other downstream effects that maybe are not sort of what you want in your environment too. So I think that yeah, so like you're saying, Dave. I mean, sometimes you get through the patch and you realize, okay, this wasn't as bad as I thought. So yeah, but ultimately it kind of depends too on what the particulars are.
What do you answer to this in terms of the advice of when do you patch, when do you do an overhaul?
What's the app doing? What's the app for?
Well, should I get yeah?
Right.
So let's ask the questions. What are the questions?
Those are the things that I would ask. It's like, okay, is it a crown jewel application? If I do a full upgrade, is that going to break everything? Like, it just depends on, and I know a lot. I've been saying it depends a bunch, but it really does.
Well,
that.
But like, here's the thing. I mean, I know of my experience that you look at it's not just vulnerabilities that you're looking at. You're looking at business capabilities.
Right.
Like, if we do this, now we're able to do X, Y, and Z. How much does that change our business and our capabilities and what we're supposed to do? Usually that leads vulnerabilities before anything else, I would assume.
Yeah.
I mean, unless the software is like Swiss cheese and you are literally, plugging the dike chronically, it's usually business imperative that's pushing this.
Exactly.
I would assume.
Yeah, if it's tied to a lot of revenue, if it's bringing in customers, like it's part of your core business, like there's a lot of factors that you have to take into consideration.
There it goes.
Absolutely.
Business
There's
impact.
there's more risk. Yeah, and there's more risk than just security risk, right? There's risk of being of downtime too. So,
yeah,
for business impact.
Tie it back to revenue.
Let's talk about recent successes with regards to remediation. What have you been doing? And both of you just jump in. What have you been doing differently, or Matt, what have you seen your customers doing differently within the past couple of years that they just did not do before?
I've been seeing more like security champion programs on the development team, and I've been seeing more.
Yes, I hear that a lot.
And the flip side too, developer champions on the security team, because it goes both ways. Like, it takes two to tango, right? And everybody talks about shift left and do all this stuff, and like, it's really like somebody said in the chat, like, lead with empathy kind of thing. I could go down the AI rabbit hole, but I'm going to try to avoid it as much as possible. But having a good, solid program of not only like processes, tools, but people as well, is making a big impact. Like, having more collaboration and just understanding, like, hey, listen, I'm not just sending you stuff just to send you stuff to do. This is actually going to impact us as a business this way, and security impact this way, and vice versa, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think, just kind of like, I guess, kind of follow on that line of thinking. Yeah, I think, really focusing on building that trust between the different disciplines has been really important kind of over the past couple of years. I know, kind of in my world. And really, I think I liked how you put that, Matt, too. Having security champions on the dev side, but dev champions on the security side. I know that's absolutely worked kind of for us. And really just seeing, AppSec in particular is an interesting discipline, because it's really part of the SDLC, right? It's part of delivering software, and I think having that mentality, has really helped too.
Yeah.
All right. Let me remind people, in 4 minutes, we're going to play our next game. And our next game, this is why you want to stick around. We will be the winner. It'll be another Kahoot game. The winner will get an awesome CISO Series jacket. And if you do win, assuming you live in the U.S., and if you already have one of those, we are hopefully opening up this new store. In fact, I've talked to our vendors where you'll be able to pick another prize. if not the jacket. All right. With that being said, let me get to another question that we have, not from our group, but from my group. Let's talk about blast radius, because this has to do with all the variables. Like maybe we could kind of not limit this to just this, but blast radius has a lot to do. Like if we don't fix this, this is going to affect team, this, and this. Like maybe we could just talk about all the questions you have to ask yourself, and maybe also, Matt, if you can explain like how much of this can you answer within the Endor platform. And by the way, if you have not gone to the poll show on stage, please go ahead and answer the poll right there and have a nice warm introduction from Endor Labs. But so a blast radius question is one. Joe, give me another one. Let's ping pong. Like, what are the questions we're going to ask to determine sort of the severity in our environment?
Yeah, I would say beyond just like pure blast radius, I would say like what criticality of apps that are affected. Like,
Okay.
Are these business critical apps versus just like some humdrum thing?
Okay, so critical blast radius. Matt, give me one.
Criticality of apps, blast radius, and teams and orgs as well. And
like what groups? That's part of blast radius. Like what groups are affected by this? And by the way, audience, jump in if you've got some other variables to throw in. Give me another one, Joe.
Yeah, well, I mean, going back to like we've been bashing on CVSS, but I would say like overall
severity is a variable. Yeah,
would be very important to know.
And probably EPSS, as we've discussed earlier. Yes,
absolutely. Yeah,
Matt, other variable?
Things like, am I using it? Is it reachable? Can it be fixed with a patch? Like we offer something called patches, which specifically for Java, it's okay. In these projects, typically people are just pulling the same dependency for several different projects. So we have an option for Java because it's just been notorious to upgrade older versions of components within Java. Hey, if you use this patch, it's going to fix 2,000 issues across these 200 projects, and it's not going to break your code because we have the context. So just seeing like where these dependencies are used, and just figuring out, okay, it's in all of our apps. We should probably do something about this.
Anybody more advice from our audience? Please shout that out. And then I'm assuming, and maybe EPSS says this, but how active this threat is.
Yeah.
Yes. Does EPSS tell you how active it currently is?
Yeah.
Like it basically measures threat.
Yeah. So if it's very, very well, I wouldn't be surprised. Would you probably put that at the top? Because that tells you the speed that you need to deal with this. Yes?
You could. Yeah. That's definitely one way to do it if it's super crazy active. But then again, it's like, yeah, it's crazy active, but like we have one instance of it that the data science team uses on their local machine.
Yeah, or it's just not applicable. Whatever the exploit is, it's not.
Yeah,
it doesn't follow the patterns we use in our environment, so we don't really need to, give it immediate attention.
All right, we have another game.
Time is ticking as we play Slogans Run.
All right, go ahead and click that Kahoot button right there. So go hit the Kahoot button right there. We want to play right. By the way, you are all playing for a prize. All of you are playing. I'm not playing. So get in there. But everyone's going to be getting there. You're going to be playing to compete. Remember, type in the number, your name as well. And so the way this game works is you will see a slogan. Actually, I forget how it is. It's either the company name and you got to match the slogan, or the slogan you match the company name. It's one or the other. I think it's a slogan, then you got to match the company name, but we'll figure it out.
Is it any company or cybersecurity company?
They're cybersecurity company.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. We're not going to. It's not going to be Coke and Pepsi.
Have it your way.
So one of the problems with this game is a lot of cybersecurity slogans sound exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So my apologies, because it is tough. They do all sound the same. All right, I'm going to give it a 10-second countdown, and then we'll begin playing. Everyone ready? 10, 9, 8, 7. Get in there. There's a lot more of you out there than are playing this game. 6, 5, 4. By the way, I want to remind everybody to stick around for our meetup at the end of the show. Audric, weren't you a latecomer last time? 3, 2, 1. Freddie, thank you for joining us. And let's begin this. Let's go. I think we got 5 questions on this one. Slogans Run. By the way, let me know if you've seen Logan's Run. Match the slogan to the company. All right. The only platform that truly addresses the human element of cybersecurity. Now, this is cruel to put none of the above. Now, all of these are direct competitors that do the same thing. So that's why this is quite tough. This one. Because they're all claiming to be the only platform that does it. I would say all 3 would probably claim this. No before was correct. And most of you got that. Good job. Good job. But Viper with the quick fingers, the quick clicking fingers is in the lead. All right, let's go to the next one. Take command of your attack surface no matter what it looks like. I didn't realize to put none of the above in. I think that's completely cruel to put in. Maybe there is a cyber company called none of the above. 2 seconds. I think you got it in. Ridge Security. Only one of you got Ridge Security. I don't think I even know what Ridge Security. I would have guessed Rapid7 too. So a lot of people got hit by that. All right, Jonathan, didn't Jonathan win the last game? Wasn't Jonathan the winner of our last game? Yeah. Oh my God, Jonathan, if you go 2 for 2, I'm going to be way impressed. Here, I did. Jonathan, good job. Jonathan, you have a jacket, I believe. Okay, setting the standard for security in the cloud era. All of them would say this.
I was going to say, I think I've seen it on all their websites.
Good luck.
It could be like any cybersecurity company.
Yeah, they're all going to say this. All right, CrowdStrike is the one who claims that Carbon. Why is Carbon Black still there? They don't exist, really. I mean, do they? Jonathan, you're slipping. All right, Robot is up. I don't know who the robot is. Is this? This is not. No, we got 2 more left. 2 more. Secure your data everywhere. Again, this could be anybody.
That could be literally anyone.
Yeah. This is why this game is so difficult. And by the way, these slogans change so often, too. Yeah. Varonis, and most of you got that one right. I think it's because Varonis is the most well-known of it. By the way, did you see their stock price didn't do so well? Yikes. Varonis. Jonathan's back in the lead. All right, Doc Drew, Morad, top 3 right now. All right, last one. We'll see who wins here. I think this is the last one. Or maybe one more. The power behind the protection. Perva, Radware, Cloudflare, and none of the above. I don't think any have been none of the above, but I don't want that to dissuade anyone to think that couldn't be an answer. Radware.
Wow. This is hard.
3 of you got that right.
It's very hard.
See, I've noticed a lot of you are clicking for the brand name you know the most, like Rapid7, CrowdStrike, Cloudflare. All right, let's see. Who's in the lead now? Jonathan, still in the lead?
Wow.
All right.
Jonathan, time to go pro.
Seriously.
All right. Okay, we do have one more. I'm sorry, there were 6 total. Last one. The platform CISOs trust. All right. I'd be humored if it was none of the above.
I went against the grain. I picked up.
CISOs trust nothing.
You got to change that to all of the above.
Splunk. Okay, well, that was the biggest. Yeah, that's the biggest name of all of these.
Wow.
All right. Let's see who the winner is. 3 with 4. It's Aperva. Good job, Aperva, for 4 and 6. Nawab. My apologies for pronouncing it wrong. And the correct answer. And the winner is Doc Drew. All right.
Came from nowhere.
Good job. Very good. Pigman, I believe you already have a jacket. If so, just email me, and we are going to get this darn site up, and we will let you be able to pick from our list of topics. All right, let's get to our questions at hand. Oh, we do have some more questions from our audience. Let's see what we got here from Murad, who asks, following the completion of remediation, does your incident management process include a postmortem to capture lessons learned? That is an excellent question. Thank you, Murad. All right, I'll ask you both. Let's start with you, Matt. You're nodding your head. Yes?
Always.
And walk me through the process. How does that work?
We have it documented internally in case something happens where it's like, okay, timeline, who first alerted to it, how did it come about, what was affected, who did what. We have, people that are responsible for different areas, and if it happens on the back end, there's a certain team that's responsible, who's on call, who's this. So, and it's just a timeline of what happened, and then within the timeline, this is what we could have done differently, this is what we could have done differently, end result, mitigations for next time. What do we learn?
All right, what would you add to that, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, the process I think is pretty similar for us. And definitely with a focus on improving the response for the next time that it happens. So being sure to document all, like Matt was saying, like the different steps, what was done, who was involved, where were the gaps, where were the friction points, and what was taking us extra time, and just to with an eye towards improvement.
Very good. And let me also remind people, if you have not done it now, I'm just going to put it in the lower right-hand corner. Join us next week for November 14th, 2025 for Hacking Cybersecurity Marketing. This is going to be a fun conversation with one of the founders of Cybersecurity Marketing Society. And if you're going to the Cyber Marketing Con, let me know, because I will be there. In fact, we're sponsoring the event, and we're ecstatic to sponsor the event. And also to remind you all, the poll that is up, hold it, showing on stage. Don't want to say, please go ahead and vote for the poll. We will make a nice warm introduction to Matt Brown's team over at Endor Labs. We will introduce you if you'd like to know about how they do the really awesome remediation. So look, more yeses in there. Yes and no. Yes and no is the same answer, just so you know. It's the same answer. Whether you take it, either way you take it. Thrilled you're getting in there. Ah, great. We will make these introductions happen. All right. I think I had one more question in here that I did not answer. Let's go from Aman Sood. Here we go. Show on stage. Do most delays in remediation stem from technical debt or from organizational behavior? My answer to that would be yes.
That is a great question.
That is great. How do you influence a life? That is a great question. Aman Sood wins the award for best question. All right. I'm sure everyone's got a different answer to this one too. Matt, what's your answer?
Jeez, that's a really good question. I mean, there's so many answers I give.
No, because the answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
Technical debt or organizational behavior. Yes.
I will tell you. I'll tell you what's easier to deal with, and that is if you care about security, and the development cares about, like, you have an AppSec team that cares about security, all this stuff, then it's easy. Like, if you don't have organizational behavior barriers, it's way easier to start fixing stuff and to actually get past those barriers. Technical debt is technical debt. It is what it is, right? Everybody has it. You can figure out a way. It's much harder when just people are like, I don't care about security, whatever. Like, it's way easier to deal with technical debt than it is organizational behavior, in my opinion.
Well, Jonathan Waldrop makes a good point. You have tech debt because of organizational
behavior. They are not decoupled, are they?
No, not at all. So what has been your experience between technical debt and organizational behavior?
Yeah, I mean, it's both, of course, but I guess I would agree with Matt that that tech debt is easier to fix. Technical problems are always easier to fix than human problems, but human problems certainly are causing, to the earlier commenter's point, causing problems, right? I mean, if you don't have, if you're not following good software engineering practices in general, if you don't have extensive unit testing, integration testing on your code, for instance, then when it comes time to like have a quick patch that needs to happen, you have unplanned work, that's going to be a much harder lift than if you had all that stuff in the first place. And that, of course, is driven by behavior and culture. And
all right. Let's see if we can do a rapid fire. And I want to get the audience as heavily involved in this as possible. Technical debt organizational behavior. I would love quick tips and advice of any. These could just be, we did this once and this worked, and maybe you didn't do it ever again, but it worked. But just like any tip, and again, audience, just throw in the chat room your advice. Any small, and it can be a super small thing, like right here, gamification from Aman. I would love details on what exactly that was. Joe, any quick hit you can hear on either side that literally just move the ball a little far. It could be just a couple of yards. What have you done?
Yeah, surfacing the relevant and actionable alerts, in a central place where everybody can find them.
Okay, centralizing. That's a good thing. Matt.
Stems a little bit good documentation.
Good.
Like
Oh,
good
you
documentation.
mentioned that earlier. Yeah, more context does not hurt.
Yep.
We've heard this from other CISOs. Over explaining is a good idea.
Yep.
ROI, showing ROI, not always the easiest thing. That Andrew Aikens did. Get one success in one. This is a good one. Get one success in one business unit and replicate across the
That's a
entire
very
org.
good way.
I agree with that too. Oh, I like this here. Reward dev teams. Here we go. Reward dev teams when they lower their debt with a ratchet system. We drop by 10%. We don't ever go above that watermark. Oh, that is a good one too. And what does Jonathan say here? Prioritize remediations with the security and engineering teams. Hear everyone's perspective. And Murad throws out, tap the phones of the M&A department, check the best credit card software purchases. Well, that is a good one. Checking for software purchases. Yes.
Yep.
That's a good. Any other ones you want to quickly add?
Yeah, I think any investment in building trust, across disciplines it goes a huge way. Whenever there's an incident or a need to ask people to drop things, if you're not asking people to drop things all the time, then they'll start to trust you more and like, oh, this is actually a time where we're going to listen to them.
That is a really good point. If it's literally, I mean, if you're having a patch Tuesday every Tuesday, if it literally every day you're alerts, yeah, you're going to run into the Chicken Little problem. All right, hold tight. I'm going to do a quick close, and then I want to ask one final question from both of you. Here, hold on. Here we go. Hey, huge thanks to Endor Labs for sponsoring today's event. Thank you so much, Matt, for his company and his team for making this possible. Hey, we are going to be, I don't know if you know, but our Friday show, we'd always promote this week in review. It moved to Monday. We're now doing the Friday show on Monday. So remember how you like to come on Friday? No show today. You can show up. No one will be there. Go to Monday. Wait till Monday. It's a kick off the week show rather than wrap the week show. And with Jacob Combs, the CISO of Tandem Diabetes Care. We just had him as a guest. He's phenomenal, as is Ross Young, the co-host of another wonderful podcast, CISO Tradecraft. We enjoy that show as well. Stick around for a meetup. This is my call out to all of you out there. Please join us on our meetup. If you've never been there, I'm speaking specifically to you who've never been there. Some of our regulars, we want you there as always, but we want all the new people to join us. If you just stay here, what'll happen is you'll see the event will close and it'll say breakout rooms creating, and it'll go 10, 9, 8, and you'll be thrown into a breakup room, and you can move in and out of rooms and chat. It's a lot of fun. We'll continue the conversation, talk about anything you'd like in the last half hour. And then very lastly, if you want to sponsor the Super Cyber Friday, just email us over at CISOseries.com, just info@CISOseries.com, and we will make that happen for you. All right, take that off. Oh, no, I can take it off. Here we go. All right, with our last 5 minutes, Matt, what have we not talked about that we should have talked about?
How AI plays into all this. I hate to bring it up, but it's true.
It's helping.
Yeah, yes. Where it helps, but where it hurts as well. Where it makes
where do you hold it? Where do you think it hurts?
There's this notion of called not indifference. I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but it's essentially like AI can add bad code, can add vulnerable code, it can hallucinate, it can add dependencies that don't even exist. It's only trained up to a certain date, so it'll add dependencies that are old and that could have vulnerabilities in it. So where it can help, which there's a lot where it can help, but where it can also hurt and where it can cause problems in terms of application security and code security and stuff like that.
Okay. And Joe, what did we not talk about? And by the way, the code security thing, which is the thing that you're tackling the most over there at Endor. Joe, what did we not talk about that we should have been talking about?
I mean, I guess we kind of maybe grazed it, but talk about we didn't talk about DevOps, or how security actually fits into the SDLC, and how there's this there can be a very reciprocal and mutually beneficial relationship between having like good software engineering typically leads to good security. I'm talking about AppSec in particular, and vice versa.
Yeah, well, I would agree with you on there. All right, let me see. I want to thank, I just want to point out that Andrew Aiken, Doc Drew, the winner. Remember, email me, Andrew. AI can be the vulnerability. One of the things we talked about, actually, let me address this with just our last 3 minutes that we have left here. One of the things we talked about, and maybe you're doing this through your platform, Matt, and you can explain, is you got to sometimes treat AI tools like a brand new employee, in the sense that they're going to work really hard. They want to work hard. They want to do the right thing, or maybe AI doesn't know one way or the other for that matter, but it's trying to train itself to do the right thing, but it will make mistakes. And
Right.
like for the when you hire a new employee, you don't give them admin access. You put them in a reasonably padded room, and then you remove some of the paddings over time. You keep nodding your head. Is there something like an equivalent of what you're dealing with over at Endor? Explain.
Yeah, we have this capability like of an AI code security review, and people ask all the time, well, how do I secure the code that an AI generated? How do you secure the code that you generated? You secure it the same way. But what this capability does is you get all these new pull requests, not only from your typical developers, but from like the marketing folks or from other AI agents and stuff. So you can't keep up with all these security reviews of these pull requests. It's impossible. So what this does is it has a DevOps agent, an AppSec agent, and developer agent that communicate with each other. Look at every pull request that's open, and will tell you if there's a kind of security or architectural. Did I change PII? Did I change the way I handle this kind of data within the code review? Stuff that like SAS doesn't pick up or SCA doesn't pick up, but just a good secure code review would pick up, and it'll do that for you automatically and kind of put to the top the most risky pull requests. Because it's not just devs opening pull requests anymore.
If that doesn't compel you to want to click this poll right now, right now, to get a chance to chat with the people at Endor Labs, I don't know what will. Go ahead, click on that poll. Please, if you would like to get a nice warm lead. And now what we're going to do is we're going to end this conversation. We are now at our time. So everyone stay exactly where you are. Stay where you are, because we're going to drop into the rooms and we want to chat with you. So Josh, thank you so much. Or hold on a second, Josh, don't shut it down. I want a huge thanks to Matt Brown, who over at Endor Labs, also for sponsoring this, and Joe Harrington as well. Thank you. Principal is the name of the company, right?
Yep.
Principal, over at Principal. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming here. Please stick around for our meetup. I do want to chat with you face to face. So come on, join us. Josh, take us out.